Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Okay, so we're out here with former Venerable Devan. That sounds better. Previously in my other videos, I put future novice, but he ordained before he met me, so it just sounds more cool. And it also gives emphasis and significance for those who have ordained before. You know, it's just I think it's nice, the honorific title, former venerable. Okay, all right. So we're here at the monastery, and we're going to give him a biographical account. Now, when he ordained, it was only 3 days after his grandparent died. Grandfather died. So, you know, they do a lot of rites and ritual. They don't get into clinical Buddhism like I do. So part of clinical Buddhism and the way how Jidao explained things is simple. You got to know who is the man behind the teaching. So today we're at the monastery, and we'll start with the birth of the Buddha. So everyone can see over here, right? Where's the Buddha? There you go. Ah, there he is. So I'm gonna make it short and sweet. Short and sweet. When the Buddha was born, out of the side of his mother's rib cage, he took 7 steps. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 is a very significant number. 7 with everything. After 7 days that he was born, his mother passed away. That was the first pain that he ever felt, was the loss of his mother. So that's why the Buddha had compassion, and he understands suffering first and foremost. That is like one of the biggest, toughest losses, losing a mother. His hands, right? The mudra, the hand that you see there is simple. He just says, I teach the path to heaven, right? And those who follow the path will live a good life and experience heaven, or nibbana. Or you can go your way. And sometimes your way can lead you to hell. And that's the finger that points downwards. So it's a choice. Oh, it's hot here. It's a choice that people has to make when it comes to which philosophy, you know, who are you going to choose and who are you going to listen to. The Buddha was born here, achieved enlightenment here, and died here on this planet. We have historical account. We've proven scientifically that this is our one and only historical Gautama Buddha that once existed. And so, let me see what else, other significant. His mother-in-law took care of him. And subsequently, his mother-in-law also asked to be ordained. And her name was Mahaprajapati. Okay? And Buddha's mother is Maya. Not to be mistaken with Mara. M-A-R-A. And you know what Mara is? They're a psychological demon. Goodness gracious. So, you know, but we'll talk about Mara. But Mara is greed, anger, ignorance. That's Mara. But that's Maya. Okay. So after she passed away, she hangs out in the demigod's realm. And he has visited her to give teachings after becoming enlightened. Okay, moving on. After 6 years of practice, okay, and then he grows up. And by the way, part of his training and education also includes military arts. So he played sports, he studied military arts, he studied, you know, all of the prerequisites that we do: reading, writing, math, arithmetic. He was an expert archer, so, you know, like shooting bows and arrows. He superseded everybody, including his cousin. That's why his cousin doesn't like him, because of jealousy, and his cousin tried to kill him 3 times in his life. Imagine that, someone trying to kill you 3 times. You guys give me 1 second, because I'm trying to give this teaching here to my pre-novice program. So he goes off. So he was a prince that lived in a palace with walls. He can't see on the outside, because outside is a bunch of foam. keep on shutting off. I gotta put this in front of me so I can see. Sorry, y'all. His dad did not want him to see pain and suffering because the wise men came and said, this child is either going to be a king, a ruler, a supreme ruler, or like super holy man. Okay? And obviously the king was not going to have his son be a holy man. You know, he was King Sudotana. And I got this book. I got to print it out, but it's got all the key names that you want to remember. Sometimes I even forget the names, but Sudotana was the father. Siddhartha, last name Gautama. Okay. So pretty much, you know, he grew up and his dad gave him everything. He has so many girls. He done partied it up with so many baddies to the point where they party so much that they're like makeup drooling on their face waking up. And the Buddha was like, ugh. Yeah, he partied with these girls at the palace and he woke up to them one day. We were like, ugh. Felicia looked, Lucretia looked, Karen, Rebecca, whatever you wanted to call it. Name it, okay? So he grows up, he studied, he was a young philosopher. He would hang out with his, outside the palace. There's worms, there's birds that comes down. There's a bird that came down and ate this worm, and the Buddha was like, what is happening? And he started questioning apex predators and the cycle of life, of which, you know, that's the cycle of life. If you are born as an animal, someone's going to eat you, someone's going to get you. Birth, old age, disease, decay, and death cycle. So he, you know, he had a lot of questions outside of the palace. Like, I wonder what his life is outside of this palace is. Hi, growing up, he got married. He had a child named Rahula. The night before he left, at 29 years old, he left that night. He looked at his son, Rahula, and he said, this boy's ball and chain. That means attachment. This boy's going to be attachment. And he left for 6 years studying ascetic practice. You don't see that image here. That image of ascetic practice is actually inside the monastery where, you know, he was so skinny that he could touch his spine with his finger. Oh. And he was going to die, and then some lady gave him rice porridge and saved him along the river. I mean, he was just kind of like dangling in the water by a branch. And this woman came and she was like, hello? Can I offer you some food? Maybe you need some strength? Okay. And then he had this firm resolve that, you know, after he regained his strength, that I was going to achieve enlightenment once and for all. I'm not going to get back up. So he meditated for 45 days on his 6th year, and he achieved full enlightenment. That's the image over there. Uh-huh. So can you guys see that? I'm going to put this back here so you guys can see. Ooh. See? There you go. There's the white Buddha statue right there. And it was pretty awesome. When he practiced with these people, you know, he kind of left because he couldn't find the answer to the complete ending of suffering. Keyword, where you want to remember, complete ending of suffering. He couldn't find his answer in his 6 years of that until he meditated for 45 straight consecutive days. Boom, so he becomes the Buddha, fully enlightened. He comes back to the 5 ascetics that he was practicing with, and he was like, what's up, y'all? I'm the Buddha now. And they're like, no, you're not. We know who you were. And you were this prince that, you know, now you're backsliding back to pleasure. They were just talking smack about him right in front of him. They were like, you were this prince, and now you're backsliding back into pleasure and material gain, and da-da-da-da. And the Buddha was like, all right, well, have I ever spoken like this? Have I ever talked like this? Have I ever walked like this? And he started explaining the Four Noble Truths, and they were like, yeah, definitely not you. This is not you. You're obviously somebody else. A fully enlightened being, and a Buddha, a Sama Sambuddho. Sama Sambuddho.
That's so right?
Yep. And they were convinced of, you know, that's why you see the 5 ascetics over there. The 5 ascetic right over there. And you know, along the way there were a couple of noble ascetics that followed him, and they were also like influencers to make it fun. They had hundreds, like a few of them had like hundreds and thousands of followers. So once they ordained, everybody else behind them was ordained. And so the Buddha started relaxing on the ordination process. First of all, when he ordained people, he said, "Ehi bhikkhu, come bhikkhu." Okay, I actually wrote some verses in the car about it. The car's over there. I don't want to run back over there. But they basically begged him for ordination. They said, "Please, as long as breath lasts," they wanted to take refuge in Buddha, Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. As long as breath lasts. I thought that was so beautiful, the way how they wrote that book. That book is in accordance to the teachings of, like the Pali Canon. The one that you saw in the car is according to the Pali Canon. This is factual what it had happened above all the other biography accounts. So that's a beautiful scene. And under School of Qidao, I only need about 5 out of millions of followers. I need 5 good ones like that. You know, who's gonna put in the work and do it. I don't need millions of people who are lazy and not gonna put in the work for enlightenment. You know, as I get older, on becoming a Ajahn, can't be lazy. Buddhism's not for you if you're lazy. You know, find somebody else. Go what we call Buddha shopping. Go keep on shopping for spirituality, shop for other religions, shop for other philosophies. Simple. You know, I should be a one-stop shop. One stop, that's it. Resolve all suffering, complete ending of suffering. Okay, so along the way of the Buddha's life, he watched a lot of things unfolded, wars and monks, you know, dying and monks being killed. Yeah, there was a couple monks that got killed because they stuck their nose where it shouldn't belong. And there was a monk that got involved into somebody else's romantic affairs, and the monk tried to tell this girl, "Hey, you should leave that guy," and or something like that. And whatever, her boyfriend came back and conspired to stab this monk on the way back to the monastery. And the monk got stabbed. And words got back to the Buddha, and he was like, remain silent, because he knew. So that's why we have to heed the advice of the Buddha, because if we don't listen to the Dhamma and the instructions on sila, morality, you can get killed. You know? Associating with the fools and taking foolish actions. So along 45 years of his teachings, at age 80, he knew that he was going to die. He was doing alms round, and he took spoiled food from a goldsmith. He didn't want to say